I'm pretty sure we did this last year on the show too.
I'm sure we've done it at least once.
Yeah, but the airing of Grievances, it's
Festivus.
It's December 23rd, so it's Festivus. If you're not a fan of the show Seinfeld, it is the holiday that Frank Costanza made up. And you have the clip. Just play the clip. It's great.
Many Christmases ago, I went to buy a doll for my son. I reached for the last one they had, but so did another man. As I rained blows upon him, I realized there had to be another way.
What happened to the doll?
It was destroyed. But out of that, a new holiday was born. A Festivus for the rest of us.
That must have been some kind of doll.
She was.
Festivus for the rest of us. You put up the poll and you air your grievances.
And share feats of strength. Come on.
Yeah, BM and I are going to wrestle right after the show's done. As I rained blows upon him. It really is a tremendous line. But we're going to go around the horn and you can pick anything. It can be Oilers related, fan related. I don't even care. But let's just get some stuff off our chest here.
You go first, BM. You
Well,
set the tone.
The article is up. Oilersnation.com every year. I write for
It's so
Festivus.
good. It's
I'm
so
a
good.
massive Seinfeld fan. So I'm starting with this gentleman, a grievance. Dead cap space. Right now, with James Neal and Jack Campbell buyouts, the Oilers have $3.016 million of dead space on the books. And now I know everybody's got some of these somewhere. But all I could think about is what the Oilers might be able to do with an extra $3 million to spend. You know?
Yeah.
And it is especially annoying given that Jack Campbell played 38 games with the Edmonton Oilers, made $10 million somehow, and now he's on our books for the rest of time.
Yeah.
It really 3 more years after this one of Jack Campbell, which stinks. The other thing that doesn't take into account for, and I know they don't write it down on Puckpedia, but Connor Brown and Corey Perry's bonuses from last year we're still paying.
We're up around $6-7 million.
Am I still the best?
Amen.
But can you imagine if you had that money?
That's like an impact player somewhere in your lineup. $6 million?
Well, you're essentially, let's say you get one $6 million player. You can, and I love Podkolzin, but you can add a top 6 winger.
Yep. Or we could still have Broberg and Holloway.
Oh, well, there you go. There's your top 6 winger, I guess.
Yeah. Shell says, when does Neil come off the books? Thankfully,
last year.
We're done. No more James Neal.
We're almost through.
Do you want to know someone who's still on the books in the NHL?
Go ahead.
Kyle Torres.
Nice.
That is
For like
crazy.
4 more
With
years.
Nashville?
4 more years.
That's
with
awesome.
Nashville.
Nashville has some gnarly buyouts on their books. Yeah, that is not good. All right, I'm going to give one, and I kind of alluded to it earlier in the show.
Okay.
I got a problem with some fans and their short memories. I get that you ride the roller coaster of the team, but 1 year ago today, maybe not even 1 year ago, we'll say 11 months ago, we were doing a map for Ryan McLeod because he could not hit the wide side of a barn.
Fast Zamboni.
Yeah. Warren Fogle did nothing for routine stretches, although I know he still had a 20-goal year. He actually had a pretty good season.
Contract your Fogle.
Yep. But the Ryan McLeod thing, I had people in my mentions yesterday being like, oh, why Henrique? We could have kept Ryan McLeod. Young players have more upside than vets. 11 months ago, absolutely every single person who is currently saying McLeod, I want McLeod over Adam Henrique, they would also have 100% been like, boy, if you could flip Ryan McLeod for a good vet like Adam Henrique, you'd do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit annoying to always the revisionist history. And like we went through it with Stuart Skinner in October when it's like, Stuart Skinner's never going to be a goalie who can win you the big games. Okay, except for all the big games he won you in the playoffs. Stuart Skinner's never a goalie who can bring you consistency, except for last year when he was actually pretty consistent and gave you almost or more 900 or better performances than all but 2 goalies in the league. I love that stat. It's my favorite stat. But like, I just get annoyed with the whole, like, whatever's happening in the moment is the truth. Evan Bouchard, another great example. Has he had a terrible first 34 games of the year? Yeah, it's been pretty bad. Has he been the best playoff defenseman in the NHL the last 2 seasons? Yup.
Also, there's also the fact that with Ryan McLeod, they still did get Matt Savoy back.
We just talked about that too.
Yeah, like in one hand, I did this. McLeod or Henrique and Savoy.
Yeah. Like, and sure, you want Adam Henrique to have more than 3 goals this year.
Yeah.
But at the same point, he's been very sound defensively. Sure, you want some quicker boots on him maybe. But then again, you see last night what he can do when he's got an opportunity to score. He buried that thing last night.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, I know, again, people are upset about the Jeff Skinner contract and all of these other things. But like, The Oilers, again, it took a little bit this year, and I'm not saying that the first little run of the season wasn't very annoying, but Edmonton Oilers with 5+ goals this year. We'll just talk about the forwards. Connor Brown, Nuge, Skinner, Perry, Hyman, McDavid, and Draisaitl. They have 7 forwards with 5+ goals. If you prorate that, we're talking about double-digit scorers, or we're actually talking about the 12+ goal range in that area. And then when you count Ekholm, Bouchard, Kulak, you're actually talking about 10 skaters on your team who are on pace for 12 or more goals this year. That's solid. And again, I don't know. I just get a little bit frustrated with the people. This time last year was infinitely worse. And some of these guys who are stepping up right now, Jeff Skinner, $3.5 million price tag. I do not like it. Bottom 6 guy, if you ignore the contract, he's going to get you 12 goals in your bottom 6.
Yeah.
Not terrible.
I like what Naeem said in there about Adam Henrique. Have we considered how handsome he is?
Well, that's also something to consider,
Something
right? Like
on
we
the
really
table.
leveled up our handsome per 60 on that trade
Mhm.
or swap.
Mhm.
And I like it. Now he's also missing a chiclet, so you can't even give Ryan McLeod the edge there.
Here's an airing of, here's a grievance. Why do our players' faces keep getting messed up?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I don't like it. Like Leon
That is
Draisaitl took a
crazy.
stick to the mouth yesterday. I'm vehemently against touching his handsome face.
Nuge had a Band-Aid on a couple of
Mhm.
games ago.
Henrique.
Henrique's
lost
missing a tooth.
I mean, Hyman.
Hyman
Hello.
has a mangled nose.
Yeah, that's
Skinner
not good.
keeps getting hit in the head. too.
Skinner is getting whacked in the head a couple of times.
Mhm.
Podkolzin was also almost decapitated
Yeah.
against Boston the
Mhm.
other day. That was crazy.
Mhm.
My grievance. It's a tough one. I think you took a good one. The goaltending is always one that I am willing to stand on the front lines and defend for all my might, with all my might, even.
Happy
So
to
that
have you
could
in
be
the trenches.
that could be a grievance of strength. No, what was the one?
A
you
feat,
said?
a feat of
A
strength.
feat of strength.
Anyone who wants to challenge the goaltending has to
I
fight
will-
Liam.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Naeem.
How about Doug Armstrong?
That was gonna be mine.
We're
Yeah,
supposed to have a code here, people.
Doug Armstrong.
Now
He
we're-
violated the code.
And he
And Zach Hyman.
and he left Zach Hyman off the
I was
team.
gonna
He
say,
was mine.
yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
The
the
wave.
goaltending is where I'm gonna plant my flag.
Yeah.
Especially on Calvin Pickard. How people just say, like, well, just get into the backup and send him down.
But
Why?
Yeah.
He has been very reliable,
For $1 million.
and you're getting every bang for your buck.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm more than happy with Calvin Pickard on this team, and I don't believe the Oilers should spend assets on a goaltender. So I will stand by that.
Stand by that.
That would be my grievance. And also, someone put it higher in the chat. Tipping at some restaurants, that's becoming a bit frustrating.
Although,
Subway, I'm looking
It's
at
not
you.
even going to the
I'm
work.
telling
piece of
you what I
strength,
want.
the NHL turned it into a fun little commercial.
That was a good commercial. That is a good commercial. Mr. Cates is going to find me.
Do you want to know my rule, people, for tipping? If I have to stand there in order, you don't get one.
Exactly.
And I know, like, there will be people who are like, "Oh, but those employees don't make a lot of money." Yeah, your beef should be with the company who does not pay them, not for me. You know how much a Subway sandwich is now?
$600.
Like, straight up, feels like it.
I
Mhm.
watched a CBC interview yesterday, not because I watched the news, it was just on my feed. And it was like a Dateline interview investigation about that none of these workers are actually getting the tips. It was clearly Subway where they were asking the person, but they had it all blurred out. But you could see all the fruits and vegetables and whatnot, whatever. My grievances, Doug Armstrong, because of the offer sheets, Holloway and Broberg. We don't even need to get into it. We know it sucks. Then the Zach Hyman was a real kick in the nuts
Yeah.
about that one. And I guess my other would be people who just are so committed to their takes that you can't admit when you might be a little off. We've been wrong
Yeah.
before. We will admit when I'm wrong. I prefer when someone can explain to me what I am wrong. I feel like I've grown. I feel like I've learned. I still see, and I love you. Thanks for commenting. Thank you for being subscribed. The constant bitching of Stuart Skinner that he sucks. You can't win with him. You were 1 goal, 1 game away. Now he's on fire, and they're changing the goalpost of, well, he needs to do that all season long. Well, dude, what do you want? Like, what do you want? I get the commitment to take. Once again, thank you for saying them in the chat. But
Yes.
it does get a little nauseating, exhausting of like,
Yeah.
does that make you feel better?
Yeah,
Do you feel like you're doing something, or can you just admit, hey, I was a little off?
that is the other part of that is too is when a goalie plays well and everyone's like, well, everyone played well in front of him, or a goalie plays bad and everyone else played bad in front of him. It's like, goalie didn't make a save.
Yeah,
Come
goalie's got to
on.
bail you out once in a while. And then, yeah, Stuart Skinner has a good game, and they'll be like, "Yeah, but find me the big save. Find me the big
Everyone played
save."
well.
Ridiculous. Colton says the nurse contract bitching. That one sucks.
I-
Can't
I
do anything
was-
about it now.
That has died out now, thank
Yep.
goodness, because
Yeah.
Nurse obviously playing well. I had another
Just
one.
going
I
back
forgot.
to Stuart Skinner for a sec. 9 of his last 11 starts above 923.
Yeah, there was the other thing too that we spoke about on ONR. The high danger scoring chances for or against, and I think that was
The
it.
fancies
Oh.
in general, maybe a
Goal-
grievance.
goals are saved above average, and this is why obviously they're fairly accurate. You can obviously paint a picture with what it tells you in there. But Matthias Ekholm goal against Boston the other day wasn't considered a high danger chance at even strength.
Which blows the mind, because let's walk through that goal for a second, people. He scored it from 6 feet
Yeah.
out.
Yep.
Nuge put him up on a tee. That's not a high danger scoring chance. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I hate the high danger thing. Actually, does drive me pretty nuts. Like, yeah, again, let's watch this goal. You're telling me this was not a high danger look?
What?
What? And the other
Right
thing,
between the hash marks.
and it also doesn't give any context to what happened before the shot.
Yeah.
So, like, again, let's talk about Leon Draisaitl from his office. Those are not registered as high danger shots. I think we can all agree that Leon Draisaitl being teed up for a one-timer there versus someone driving wide and throwing a wrist shot from there, they're not created the same. So I do think there's a lot of context missing from a lot of those numbers. But I'm generally a fan of the stances, but that one in particular, I think that's a good one.
I have one other one.
Yep.
And mine, I don't know if you noticed, a bit of a theme. Goaltending in general. Save percentage. I hate it. I think it's the worst stat in hockey.
No, that's a
Because-
decent stat.
No,
worst stat in hockey.
in my eyes, yes.
No
Liam.
way. No way.
It's my list. I will put one on it when I want. I
You've got a
think the
grievance with
important
you.
thing to look at more than like your overall, like, I shouldn't say the worst. That you're right. It is like a good thing to look back on at the end of the year. But like Stuart Skinner, what is he now? Probably like an 894, 95, I would assume, somewhere around there. It's better just to look in like the last like 15, 20 games, something like that. Like what have you done for me lately is the best way. I
8
like to
game
look at
segments.
things. Yeah, there you go. 8 game segments, because that breaks it up into basically 10 throughout the year. You'll get a couple of 11s and never. That's the way I prefer to look at it rather than the other way around.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.